adventures with the candle enthusiast.
I thought the winter was supposed to be over. We still have snow. I'm okay with that, especially because the roads are perfectly safe to drive on, and it just so happens that I need an extra cup of coffee. I had coffee this morning. It was good, but it just didn't take, you know? It didn't sink in. So I thought we would go on a very specific kind of Starbucks crawl. Hop to different Starbucks and try one of their brand new releases, their anniversary blend for 2022. And something I've done before, but I want to try again, is when we go to these different locations, have them brew it in different methods. This way, not only can we examine the coffee, but we can also see what is the best method to prepare this specific roast. Nothing left to do but to hit the road. I hope you decide to join along today. Will you? Well, then let's do this. You know what? This is perfect. This Starbucks, it just opened. I've never been here before. So you would think that a Starbucks that just opened would take even more pride in brewing their coffee than, say, a location that's been open for quite a while. I think this would be a perfect baseline cup of joe to get to understand the flavor profile of the new anniversary blend. Let's go inside and get online. Can you just grind just enough for the pour over? Yeah, because I like to grind as I go. Have a great one.
Yeah.
They didn't have the anniversary blend on drip, but I was prepared for such a situation. So I asked them if they could do a pour over, a manual pour over for the anniversary blend. I had to buy the bag, but I actually wanted to get a bag anyway. Here is the pour over. It's really hot, it's really fresh, and although I could just taste it here, I have a really cool place just across the street that I think would be optimal to sit and try this anniversary blend for the first time. I'm standing just at the front of Roth Hall, the main building at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. And this is a very familiar place for me. This was essentially my playground growing up. You see, my father not only attended the Culinary Institute of America, but he went on to be a professor here at the school for 43 years. If you take, let's say, a class of 30 students every 3 weeks for 40 years, that's a lot of people. I also am an alumni of the Culinary Institute. I didn't graduate from this school. I graduated from Greystone, the Napa Valley branch of the Culinary Institute of America. But I did attend the school here in Hyde Park for a good amount of time before I moved out to Napa Valley. So, why did I attend the Culinary Institute? Did I become a chef? Was I looking to open up a restaurant? No. My attention was strictly towards wine and beverages. In fact, my degree is in wine and beverages. And this is where it all began. Sitting in a classroom inside of this school every morning for weeks on end, having wine sprawled out in front of me, tasting wines blind, and trying to understand them, trying to identify them. Although I went on to take my sommelier exams, I was also becoming not just a casual candle fan. I became what my friends and coworkers called me, the candle enthusiast. And that really is where the name came from. It was kind of a take on the Wine Enthusiast magazine. Well, that's the origins of the Candle Enthusiast name. But that journey, the art of sensory evaluation, all really began right here. So there's no time better than right now to taste this coffee, which again is the anniversary blend for 2022. This was a pour over. It's still hot. It's still hot. One way or the other, it always feels wonderful to take that initial first sip. So let me talk about some of the better things in this cup of coffee. It has a great body. I don't mean its physique. No. The viscosity has a nice richness, lushness, heft. There's weight when you have this coffee in your mouth. The concentration, the intensity of the coffee, also very good. There's times when, of course, coffee is just too weak. You know, it feels like you're drinking more of coffee tea. But then there's other times when it seems like you're drinking coffee concentrate. It's just too strong. It's too much. But not in this scenario. In this scenario, I feel like the intensity is exactly where it probably should be. It's actually described quite well. It says it has cedary notes and black truffle. I can see where they're going with the black truffle. It might be a little bit of a stretch. This has a very astringent, bitter quality. The key is to make sure that you're extracting the full flavor profile of the beans, but not over extracting to the point where you're getting those astringent compounds. You want to leave all of that stuff in the filter. So although the flavor profile is very nice, it's spicy, it's smoky, it's got some peppery notes, it's got that cedar note that's advertised, it is a little bit bitter. Here's the thing about bitter, dark coffees. They take milk really well. So if you drink your coffee black, this might be a bit out of control for you, but adding that milk, the creaminess, little bit of the sweetness, especially if you're adding sweetener, that will tame down, counteract that astringent drying sensation on the palate. For this cup of coffee, I would say I like the texture, I like the flavor profile, it's just not balanced. It's probably, not probably, it's just, it wasn't brewed to the best of its ability, in my personal opinion. But what if we tried another cup from a different location and compared to see if a different brewing method would improve on the overall experience? I think that's precisely what we should do. In order to do that, we're gonna head south down the Hudson River. And for now, I'm gonna take my cup, take a short little walk around the campus, and say my hellos and my goodbyes to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. Brings back a lot of memories. We're doing a little bit of rocky terrain at the moment. A construction site. I had to stop by and show you something. Actually, I haven't been here in a very long time, and it looks a whole lot different than the last time I saw it. We are at the very old Poughkeepsie Mental Institution, Mental Ward, whatever the most PC way of saying it. Well, that's where we are right now. And this is incredible. The roads that they paved here weren't the original roads. They've created these construction roads. So I don't have my bearings. I'm not really quite sure where we are. I thought I would stop and get some footage of this sanatorium because who knows how long these ancient buildings are gonna be standing. This is a great opportunity. All right, so change of plans. I was stepping out to take some video, and I thought this might happen. A construction worker here on the site kindly said, you know, this isn't a place where I should be. And I respect that, and I'm not going to question that. And perhaps it is a little bit of a liability for me to be here. And I'm currently waiting to have security escort me off the property. Now, I'm not in trouble, but apparently the way I came in, they don't want me to leave that in that direction. So I'm waiting for further instructions on how to get out of here. I just wish that I could get some photographs in the meantime. That's that. You gotta try. But the key lesson here is follow the rules. Don't break the rules. Don't do it, because it's not worth it. Well, I don't know a lot, but I do know that that's very spooky. The remnants of this old institution above my shoulders. You know, it's a shame I couldn't get a closer look, but it is private property. Decrepit, falling to pieces. I was just up there quite close, and looking through the windows, you could see the interior of the building. I mean, it's all there. And this has been long abandoned, closed. And to see it from this angle, which is newly excavated land, you know, this used to be trees and a forested area, but being able to stand here and see the full scope of this property and all of the remaining buildings, pretty spooky. It's a shame that they might be inevitably knocked down. I'm not sure what the fate is for these buildings or this land, considering the condition that they're in. I don't see them being restored for any reason. I'm glad I stopped by, but remember, always play by the rules. Don't go places you can't go. So in another turn of events, a gentleman just came up to me and introduced himself. He said he has been working here on the property of the Mid-Hudson River State Hospital, which I guess was one of the names it once had. He did mention that they're going to restore and salvage one of the buildings, the main building on the property, which is great to hear because it's all about history, right? He was admitting that there's so many stories, local tales, whether it's superstition or sightings or speculation of folks witnessing very eerie things on the property. You know, you wonder how it would feel to be up here late, perhaps in the middle of the night. Spooky history. I'm all about that. So what you probably already know is Barnes & Noble's, just about every location, they have Starbucks inside. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Any chance you have the anniversary blend available?
Yeah, I can make that.
Okay, great. But what you may not have known is that they're actually not Starbucks locations, meaning they serve Starbucks products, but it's actually not a Starbucks. They actually have signs that says proudly serving Starbucks. So we're trying Starbucks, but it's made by the folks from Barnes & Noble. So Yeah, there's a difference. There's gonna have to be a difference because I really wanted to try the anniversary blend with a bunch of different brewing methods today. I should have predicted this. Here at Barnes & Noble, they also were not serving the anniversary blend with the standard drip method. You know, when you order a coffee from Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, they're serving you most likely drip coffee, unless you request a pour over, French press, or any other method specifically. So I had the young lady make me another cup of coffee, but here's the thing. I watched her quite closely when she was doing the pour over, and she did it pretty well. I could see that she had concentration, she wasn't distracted, she was timing it, she weighed the coffee, she did everything seemingly correct. So let's see if by any chance this cup is better from the last cup that we had not that long ago. Wow. Wow. So the flavor profile is the same. Maybe a little bit more spicy this time around, but that very familiar Starbucks dark roast flavor is there. This is so recognizable as a Starbucks coffee. The bitterness is completely under control. This is not nearly as astringent as the first cup of coffee. However, the body is not as nice. You know, it is a little bit more watery on the palate, but the flavors, they last a long time. There's virtually no acidity in this coffee. If you're not a high acid coffee kind of person, which is good if you are, because coffee that doesn't have a particularly large amount of acidity will taste better as it reaches room temperature. What makes coffee taste not so great when it gets cold or at room temperature is usually, or at least in part, because of that acidity. This is good. So what's that say? Starbucks in Barnes & Noble. Better than a brand new Starbucks right down the road. At least to me. Really good. I like this. I really wanted to try the anniversary blend with a bunch of different brewing methods today. But it seems like no matter where I go, I'm going to be getting pour-overs. However, I do have one more location that will most likely be able to serve us up something different other than a pour-over. And that's going to be the Clover. Do you know what the Clover is? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Either way, let's go try one more cup of coffee. Ooh. So we are now at a Starbucks Reserve location. What is a Starbucks Reserve? A Starbucks Reserve, I don't know the technical way to describe it, but it's like a headquarters of Starbucks in a particular region. But they also have a few bits of machinery, some tricks up their sleeve to produce different types of coffee. You can get a nitro, but they also have a Clover, which is sort of an inverted coffee press, fully automated, very quick, and from experience, it produces an exceptional cup of coffee. Not just an exceptional cup of coffee, but it expresses the coffee in a good and honest way. Let's hope they have the anniversary blend inside so we can try yet another cup of the anniversary 2022. We have the anniversary blend 2022 made with the Clover, and let me tell you, I've definitely exceeded my caffeine intake. Let's give this a shot. Yeah. So once again, the Clover just wins. I've proven this before. I've done other Starbucks videos where I've compared different brewing methods, and hands down, the Clover always wins. The first cup of coffee, we had a nice, rich body, but it was astringent. Then the second cup of coffee was more restrained. The flavors came through without getting that bitterness. However, the viscosity was thinner. It was a little bit too watery. But now with the Clover, we've met right in the middle in all of the best ways. We have the full spectrum of the flavor profile. We have really good temperature. We have that rich body that I'm looking for and that we found in the first cup of coffee. And it's not bitter. You know, the bitterness is there, but it's tolerable. It's pleasant. It's actually, it's a pleasant thing to experience, especially if you are pairing this with something a little bit sweet. I've done this enough times to really make my full recommendation. If the Clover is available, go for it. It's a couple extra dollars, I get that, but I think even if you consider yourself a person who's not a coffee enthusiast or an aficionado, or someone who's not overly concerned about the subtle nuances in your cup of coffee, I'm still gonna recommend you try the Clover, because this is, for Starbucks, a really great cup of coffee. And unlike a French press, it's not being served cold. It's still hot. It fills all of the little check boxes, and honestly, I'm just enjoying it. At this point, I'm just happy that I have yet another cup of coffee. So the day is still young. The sun is high in the sky, and there's plenty of things to do. So I'm gonna jump into another video for the Candle Enthusiast channel. But for today, I want to thank you for joining me on this little coffee crawl. It was a pleasant experiment, and I'm glad that we had a chance to make several stops for a little added fun. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the details in the description below. Ways you can help further support the Candle Enthusiast channel and all of our upcoming on the road, out and about videos. A lot of great stuff planned, but as always, I need your support to keep ourselves on the road, to keep the propulsion of these videos moving forward. But for today, for now, thank you for joining. I will be talking to you soon. But until then, be good, and always remember to live enthusiastically.